Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new day of Road to TCG World 2019. Thank you so much for being here, guys. As you can see, we are now moving on to the newly released JOLTEON GX promo. Now if you're watching YouTube, don't forget to leave a like, it really helps out the channel. And if you're live with me on Twitch, thank you so much for being here. Now, the main attraction, JOLTEON GX, lightning type, 200 HP, and its attack, Electro Bullet, is very reminiscent of Puzzle GX's Jet Punch, as Electro Bullet deals 30 damage and 30 damage to one of your opponent's benched Pokemon. Now, of course, we don't have strong energies or Diancies or whatnot, or even Beast Energy, but we do have Electro Power in order to increase the damage that Electro Bullet does. And then we have the Head Bolt attack, which for 2 energy it deals 110 damage, which is a very nice number to deal, especially for such a cost-effective attack. And finally we have the Swift Run GX attack as well, which without any drawbacks we can prevent all effects of attacks, including damage, done to this Pokemon during your opponent's next turn. So your opponent will definitely need a Guzma to bypass JOLTEON GX's Swift Run GX attack. However, with Electro Power and Choice Dance, that Swift Run GX can deal a lot of damage. Now, we have the 4 energy evolution EVs in order to evolve on turn 1 and start attacking. So this is one of the few decks perhaps where attacking on turn 1, I mean going second, might actually be a decent choice. Although, you never know if and when, or if you're actually going to get an EV start, so perhaps it's a bit too risky to do that. Now we have a 2-2 line of Magcargo with Smooth Over ability, which allows us to search for any card and put it as our top deck in the deck. Really nice way to make sure that we're drawing the right things. Really nice combination with Lily as well. Acrobatic, I really couldn't make them fit into the deck, but could definitely be consideration, especially since we are running Magcargo. But we do have Oranguru in order to combine with Magcargo and draw the cards we need. Now, JOLTEON GX is such a cost-effective attacker and attacks for such little energy that ZERAORA GX's ability, Thunderclap Zone, which makes any lightning Pokemon retreat for free, or any Pokemon with a lightning energy attached retreat for free, is a really nice combination with Magcargo's huge retreat cost, because we're not going to be worried about it being stranded in the active spot. And then we also have the attack Plasma Fist for 160 damage, although we can't attack next turn, and Full Voltage GX, which allows us to recharge 5 energy cards from the discard pile to any Pokemon we would like. Now, between Plasma Fist from ZERAORA and JOLTEON GX's Electro Bullet, we actually essentially are playing a Lightning type Puzzle GX deck. Different Pokemon, different attacks, but we are essentially doing the same thing. And then finally we have a TAPU GX with its 170 HP, no weakness, which is a very welcome addition to the otherwise super fighting weak deck, and with the ability Air Trail, where when you play this Pokemon from your hand onto your bench, you may move any number of lightning energy from your other Pokemon to this Pokemon, and if you do, you switch this Pokemon with your active Pokemon. Sky High Quells, 130 damage for 3 energy, a very decent number as well, that can be fully powered up or extra powered up with Electro Power. And Tapu Thunder GX deals 50 damage times the amount of energy attached to all of your opponent's Pokemon, punishing high heavy energy using deck, or catching someone off guard. Now we have Raikou with its Booming Thunder attack to reload energy from the discard pile, lightning energy from the discard pile to our bench. We have the Ditto Prism Star to evolve into Jolteon or Magcargo as needed. And finally, supporters wise, we have 4 Lily, 4 Guzma, 3 Cynthia, 2 Volkner, and 2 Acerola. Now Acerola is in here because we do have a lot of maneuvering room with JOLTEON GX's super cheap and cost-effective attacks. If they don't manage to KO, then Acerola is a really nice card to reuse and reuse and reuse. Josh, thank you so much, 9 months in a row, thank you so much for resubscribing to the channel, I really do appreciate it. And realgames.ca, if I were updating this deck list on Thursday, are there obvious changes that you would make? I don't think JOLTEON GX is as good once the Tag Team GX cards come out, but I do have a video on Pikachu Zekrom, which is probably the best tier 1 lightning deck that will be out there. So I don't think I would immediately update this, but I would rather actually make a Pikachu and Zekrom focus deck if I wanted to play a lightning based deck. Yeah, and in the video I go through the benefits and the different card choices and whatnot. Now, items wise, we have of course Full Troll and 4 Nest Ball, so I can search for the Pokemon that we need, but we also have 4 Electro Power, where during this turn your lightning Pokemons, and thanks so much for the follow, your lightning Pokemon's attacks do 30 more damage to the opponent's active Pokemon. So Electro Power allows us to power up against even non-GXs, which is really nice, as opposed to Choice Band, which only allows us to do extra damage to GXs and EXs. We have 1 Escape Rope as an extra switching card, we have a single Stretcher to recover Pokemon, and then finally we have Thunder Mountain. Now Thunder Mountain is not a card that we can actively search for since we are not running Lithia. Pikachu and Zekrom decks will be able to, and on Thursday you'll see Thunder Mountain get a lot more play, especially in the new lightning decks that are going to be a big part of the meta. But what Thunder Mountain does is the attacks of lightning Pokemon, both yours and your opponent's, cost lightning less, so it does benefit an opponent in the mirror match. However, being able to Electro Bullet for free, Head Bolt for a single lightning, Swift Run for a single lightning, that's just incredibly good. And we can in fact search for the Thunder Mountain with Magcargo, so it can be reliable, and we can rely on it to perhaps create double threats, perhaps attach an energy to the right Pokemon. We shall see what situations come up. And finally, 11 basic lightning energy round out the deck. So let's jump into a ladder, see what we can do with this JOLTEON GX deck. And Sputix, este meta ya está bueno, Sputix. Pues está a punto de salir la nueva expansión y creo que con la nueva expansión se va a poner muy bueno el asunto. Looks chilly. It is pretty chilly in my house right now. It has been pretty cold these past couple of days in Mexico. So, and my house is especially cold rather. My house is especially cold. Okay, this is a pretty terrible hand, not gonna lie. If I had a lightning energy, then perhaps it wouldn't be as terrible, and hopefully this extra mulligan card will help us. Counter gain Rainbow Energy, Rare Candy, and Hammer. I believe we're up against Zorg, Decidueye, and Ninetales, I would imagine. Wednesday is going to be -50. What? That is crazy. Okay, it's definitely not as chilly here. -50. Wow. Good thing it's not Celsius, I guess. -50. That is an insane. Wow. I can't even, like, I've never been in that kind of weather. I don't think I can't even picture it. Okay, so my opponent has the raw Elms. The Cynthia does make our hand slightly better. I was fearing that the Oranguru and the Slugma lineup was going to make the deck just a little bit more awkward. So I was thinking of, instead of playing 2-2 Magcargo and 2 Orangurus, I could end up just playing 1-1 line and then 1 Oranguru. Perhaps that would be a little bit better and less clunky, and therefore increase our chances of starting EV every game, which is our goal. And wow, we actually did get the lightning. And so the question now becomes, do I actively Guzma something? I think the answer is yes. 1 JOLTEON GX is priced, as we can see. TAPU KOKO GX could end up coming into play. I'm not worried about the Enhanced Hammer that I saw in the mulligan, of course, because we only play Lightning Energy. And an Electro Power here would just be icing on the cake. Now, I am honestly at a loss as to what to go for. Which Pokemon to hit? I think it's the Rowlet. Puts pressure on the Rowlet because he'll probably want to retreat it. And then who gets the 30? It could be the Vulpix, but I think it's gonna be the Ditto, because once again that also puts pressure on him evolving. And then if for some reason he doesn't evolve and accepts the fact that he's gonna lose either or, I can free retreat, because JOLTEON GX does have free retreat. I can free retreat and then Guzma again and then get a double KO on the Rowlet and the Ditto, which would be pretty nice. would be pretty nice indeed. So we'll see how this ends up working out for us. There's the Water Ninetales actually. That's what he uses to save the Ditto. So now I wouldn't mind an attached retreat, although there's a Rowlet now. I mean, not a Rowlet, sorry, a Dartrix. There's a Dartrix, so now I'm not gonna get a single KO. Had I known this, I would have gone after the Zoroark, right? He had the two evolutions that I wasn't expecting, but he actually chooses the Water Ninetales. Instead of going for a further setup, he's just gonna go ahead and try to pressure me with Ice Blade. Okay. I mean, 50 damage is not gonna do much for my opponent, right? It's not that big a deal for us. And then 2 cards in hand. He obviously doesn't have a draw supporter. I could just KO the Dartrix here, because I did top deck this Electro Power. And then place 30 on a Vulpix or on a Zorua. I could also KO a Zorua, which is honestly a bit enticing, but I think denying the Decidueye is just slightly better. So I'm gonna go ahead and Electro Power, and then I'm gonna Electro Bullet onto a Zorua here. So I get a prize card, very nice, another Oranguru. Probably don't want to bench that. Next turn I'm definitely going to Cynthia. And then he snipes me for another 50, that's okay. Then I can even attach the Choice Band, that wouldn't be a problem. Finally top decks a Cynthia. So now he's gonna evolve the Zorua. I mean, the likelihood of him having the single Alolan Ninetales and the single Dartrix was not very high, right? That's why I targeted those 2 Pokemon. If I had gone for double attacks on the double Zoras, I would have gotten those 2 knockouts, and that would have been pretty nice. But that is not going to happen now. There's an Alolan Ninetales, so probably looking for Time Rolls here to save those Zoras. If you want it to be 100% safe, you would go for Zoroark GX, right? You would go for Zoroark GX, and we'll see what happens. We shall see what happens. Okay. So Ultra Ball and Time Roll goes for a guaranteed Zoroark and then goes for the risky flippy card. Which makes sense. Double tails here would be nice. It's not the case. Yeah, so now we're not gonna be able to prey on the low HP Pokemon. He even got a Zoroark, a raw Zoroark. He's gonna use that Ultra Ball then to go for a Rowlet. No way he has a full bench and a Choice Band to knock out my Jolteon, right? Please don't tell me you're actually gonna have a full bench Choice Band. Why you would attach before you trade, I have no idea. But who am I to question my opponents? Okay, and he does go for the Ice Blade as expected. Alright. So now, I do get a Lightning Energy, which is not very useful. I definitely don't want to Kuzma a 3rd time. So I'm just going to go ahead and Cynthia, hopefully finding Macargo and Ditto are decent cards. I will go ahead and attach to a Ditto. And then I'm just going to go ahead and Electro Bullet. He might use the GX attack, that means my Jolteon survives, which would make me very happy. And I'm going to go ahead and snipe this Zoroark GX. A combination of Choice Band plus Electro Power could end up giving me a knockout. Rhea, 13 months in a row. Thank you so much for resubscribing. And Patrick, hello. Thank you so much for being here as well. Thanks to both of you for the support and for being here. Patrick, as shown by the purple Tablemon, he's also a long-time subscriber, so thank you so much for the support. And okay, so I don't think my opponent's gonna hold back on using the GX attack, and he's just gonna go ahead and finish me off with his Zoroark, right? Ray is stealing my thunder. I didn't get a notification for you, Josh. No, yeah, I did. There it is. Okay. I am doing well, thank you, Rhea. I am doing very well, thank you. How about yourself? How about yourself? Nine months sub. 9 months is a lot of months. Josh, thank you so much for the support. Okay, so my point will now actually go ahead and prizes. And having the energy on the Ditto is bittersweet, because if that had been an Eevee, that would have been much better. Because I know I have a JOLTEON GX priced, and I have to naturally draw into it. The Eevee helps. I'm not gonna focus on playing an Electro Power here because I'm not even guaranteed an attack off, and that's exactly what's going to happen here. I'll go ahead and Nest Ball. I think for ZERAORA, actually. ZERAORA means I can retreat that Ditto for free, right? And I think that's worth it, conserving the energy here. And definitely evolving into Macargo. I can't use Macargo plus Instruct, which sucks. But I will leave something up there as my top deck for the turn. Probably an Acerola, honestly. I believe I'm gonna just leave an Acerola. I'm gonna absorb the hit. Yeah, I'm gonna deal 30 damage and then 30 to the Rowlet for sure. Apply pressure there. Am I though? Maybe I just go for a GX attack next turn. So if I assume I'm gonna get the energy, the harder card to get would be an Electro Power, though 140 is not enough. I'd be 10 short. So I can't put a Volkner at the top. I could put a Lily, I could put the Electro Power, use it, and then smooth over for another one, and then hope. That might be the best course of action, but if that's the case, I'm gonna go ahead with the Choice Band. If I can get a KO with the Swift Run GX attack, I'm gonna be a happy camper. I think I'm just gonna focus on the Zoroark then instead, right? I think I'm just gonna focus on the Zoroark, softening that guy up. In case he decides to like Acerola or Max Potion. Yep, we're gonna see the rare candy, the CDI. Am I going to lose my Ditto here? That would suck. Losing the Ditto would be pretty bad here for us. Well, I guess it wouldn't be the end of the world, but we'll see. Interesting that my opponent once again has not traded and is already playing cards. There's no way he doesn't set up the CDI, but still. I wonder if he's considering who to Feather Arrow before he even trades. Unless he's Cynthia's, right? Okay, but there's the trade. And thank you so much for the follow. You just turned in a big project. Very nice. Very nice. Getting closer to getting your PhD, I imagine, Rhea. And then we see the second trade. Trading away the Cynthia. So my opponent's plan might be to Guzma this turn, which I wouldn't mind. Like, if he Guzmas the Macargo, so be it. If he Guzmas the Ditto, so be it. If he Guzmas the ZERAORA, so be it. There's a Cynthia, so not the best sequencing by an opponent. If you're planning to Cynthia, unless you were looking for something different, right? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what my opponent's plan is. Does go for the Ditto. Does go for the Ditto and does go for the Righteous Beating. So the Ditto is definitely going to go down next turn. And my opponent decides to immediately concede. Interesting. I was going to hope to get an energy so I could I was going to put an Electro Power at the top, and then I was going to hope for an energy off of the Lily for 4. Or 3 rather, because 1 was going to an Electro Power. So I could GX KO the Zoroark, and then perhaps follow that up with another KO and another Zoroark, and then see how I could get my last prize card. But turns out that was not going to be the case. Well, my opponent was just not up for that. 1 year left, Rhea. Nice. You're gonna be Dr. Rhea then. You're gonna be Dr. Rhea. That's pretty impressive. That is pretty impressive. Okay, Raikou start going first. Nothing to write home about, but we can pressure with Booming Thunder, which is nice. No nest balls or anything, not ideal. We are up against Lost March. Okay, Lost March should be a very easy matchup. Jump Love is weak to Lightning. At some point we will be able to get a... ooh, this Ultra is nice. At some point we should be able to get a... we should be able to get like a double knockout thanks to the bench damage, which makes me happy. Gonna go ahead and set up the JOLTEON GX here. And now I have all 3 Jolteons, but now I prize 2 EVs. Thankfully we still have the Ditto, but we'll see. Hello Freaky Wolf, thank you so much for being here. Very, very kind of you. Gonna go ahead and Lily. I do get the Slugma, I do get a Nest Ball, which I believe I'm gonna set up as ZERAORA so I can free retreat that Raikou. Like there's no reason not to try and use JOLTEON GX rather than Raikou. I don't need the extra energy honestly, and I'd rather just start spreading damage to other Pokemon, right? Because there's no way my opponent can prevent that, and perhaps that will let me get a prize card or get a double prize turn, which is nice, especially if he benches another Natu. I shouldn't put damage on the Hoppips because once my opponent goes into Jump Love, the damage counters do get removed, right? So targeting Hoppips makes no sense. Targeting Oranguru is kind of meh. There's a Professor Elm's lecture for the triple Hoppip, that makes sense. So the 30 damage so far is going to go onto Oranguru, otherwise it would just be wasted on Hoppips. It would definitely be wasted on Hoppips. If a Marshadow gets dropped, then probably definitely on a Marshadow. And okay, so I could Lily for the lightning energy, right? I think I'm just gonna go ahead and Cynthia. Like I would do Smooth Over and then Lily for 1, but that feels very weak. I had very good odds to get the lightning energy just off of the Cynthia, and it's exactly what happens. And then I'm gonna go ahead and Smooth Over. I have the Volkner, which is nice, which gets me lightning energy and possibly Nest Ball. So what else could I possibly want? I think an Electro Power or a Lily actually, because if I put Lily, then I have the choice to either Volkner or Lily the turn afterwards. So I think that's a better call. And then I don't need to attach energy from the deck. I'm just gonna go ahead and Electro Bullet and just apply some pressure. Between Acerolas and Volkners and whatnot, I should be able, like I'm definitely gonna attack 4 times at least with Electro Bullet. So yeah, my opponent shouldn't be able to KO me here, right? I'm gonna attack 4 times at least with Electro Bullet, probably more. So that Oranguru will eventually go down. Gets rid of double Jump Love, interesting. That's a very harsh discard right there. I'm gonna go ahead and Volkner for a lightning energy. And I believe the Nest Ball for another Eevee. I'm just gonna set up triple Jolteon here. So I'm gonna Nest Ball for Eevee. I'm gonna go ahead and attach to it. Now, do I fear my Jolteon going down? Without the Choice Band, he's gonna need 7 Pokemon in the Lost Zone. Right now he has 2. And he's already gotten rid of 2 Jump Love, so he can't even triple Skip Lump even if he wanted to. Therefore, I am going to Smooth Over for a Volkner, I believe, because that gives me flexibility. I'm going to evolve that Ditto into Jolteon, of course, no reason not to. Triple Jolteon GX, and then I'm going to go ahead and Electro Bullet onto the Oranguru, because now, I mean, I can search for a Electro Power. And then that gets me another attack on the Oranguru. And eventually, this Jolteon will end up having taken 3 prizes perhaps. Or even if it's 2, then that's okay. We see the choice band. So now it's another 70. That's 140. Now my opponent just needs 3 Pokemon in the Lost Zone. So 1 Skiploom and 1 Trombeak, definitely not out of the question. Pretty crazy that he already had the choice band right there. Honestly. Does send my Volkner to the Lost Zone. Does send my Volkner to the Lost Zone. So no more Volkners for me. And I do get a Oranguru, I do get a Lightning. And my opponent will get the knockout. I mean, it was unlikely-ish. Perhaps I should have retreated, but honestly, him having that second choice band was so unlikely. So unlikely. And then he gets perfect setup. Okay. So I do have free retreat with Raikou. You could take Guzma, Electro Bullet, and Natu, then Guzma to hop it and double KO Fetstar. Yeah, that is in fact true. That might be what I end up doing this turn, going after a Hoppip. Now I'm in not so great spot. I mean, the only way I can get a... Oh no, I can use Headbolt, right? I could use Headbolt to get a knockout on the Natu. That might be my best course of action, honestly. I think that's gonna be the best course of action. I'm gonna put a Lily at the top. But then if he goes for... If he gets a Trombeak, then he gets rid of my Lily. So I'm just gonna put the Electro Power at the top. I definitely think KOing Natu is the right call here. It's not spreading this turn. So I'm just gonna go ahead and Headbolt here. I could go for Swift Run GX, perhaps. Probably won't be too many better turns to use Swift Run here. But it's okay. It's okay. Fetstar, I think you're right. I think that would have been perhaps a better call, but I got Marshallowed, so it didn't really matter too much. We're gonna see the Elms grabbing Natu and double Skiploom, or no Natu rather. Once again, my opponent can only use 1 Skiploom because there's already 2 Jumplofts here, and that's gonna be the 3rd one, that's gonna be the 4th one. None of them being prized is pretty impressive, right? None of them being prized is pretty impressive. Yeah, he didn't have a Hoppip or Skiploom prize. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He's 1 short. He needs 1 more Pokemon in the Lost Zone and a Grass Energy. So maybe next turn is when I'll use Swift Run GX. Unless I get KO'd here. If I get KO'd here, I'm gonna be in a lot of trouble. And now there's a big chance I could be knocked out here. That Ultra Ball, is it gonna be for a Natu? I think that would be good because that gives him the best options. Or it's gonna be for a Trombeak, because that's the 10th Pokemon. That's gonna be the 10th Pokemon. My opponent also had a Guzma. Oh wow. The double choice band. That previous KO, I was definitely not expecting that. For him to just immediately have TC choice band. Turn 2 and then turn 3 TC choice band. And it's struck for 3. Does he get a grass? Oh, wow. That is absolutely crazy. Wow. We are getting punished so much here. So much. Oh, wow. We are getting so punished here. Okay. So then I'll smooth over. I mean, that's the last jump level I have to deal with, potentially. But the Natu is also a big issue. I'm going to put a Cynthia at the top. Now that he's used 2 Trombeaks, I don't expect them to be more of them, or too many more. Gonna use the non-GX to get the knockout. That seems like the best course of action. I'll power up the Jolteon. I'll get my prize card, but now we're in a lot of trouble. Those back-to-back KOs for my opponent have been crazy, and I could have avoided them both. If I had just retreated into another Jolteon, I would have avoided the first one. And if I had used the GX attack on this previous turn, I would have avoided this second one. And then immediately has a stretcher, so there's another jump love now. And yeah, it's the same as always. The Night March matchup will usually come down to just finding a stream of energy. Oh, what? You're kidding me. Okay. I mean, I thought we were in control of the game, but my opponent just had an explosive couple of turns. My opponent had some really, really explosive couple of turns. And perhaps coupled with my underestimation of the deck. If I retreat the first Jolteon, I would have been fine. If I if I use the GX attack, I mean I delay the KO for a turn. He had the Kuzma though. He got rid of a Kuzma and then he immediately found the next one. He also, like, he instructed into the Kuzma. He instructed for one into the Kuzma to win the game. Okay. So yeah, not taking the KO on the Hoppip was probably a big mistake. Okay. Now with this hand, we really have to hope we did not prize our third JOLTEON GX. If we did, it's gonna be a rough game. If we didn't, then it's gonna be meh. But if we did, it's gonna be awful. Because this hand really, really sucks. There's a turn 1 Elms for my opponent, straight up, right off the bat. We're gonna see the Elms. Triple ZERAORA. Triple ZERAORA, not even like... Okay, we don't know what my opponent's up is planning on using or whatever. Okay, so next ball, the other Jolteon is in there. Thank you so much. My 2 Slugmas are priced. I mean, do I have to go for Orankuru? I'm never gonna be able to use Orankuru, so might as well. I'll go ahead and evolve into Jolteon, and then I think I'm gonna Guzma the Lele. Right? Definitely gonna Guzma the Lele. So I get some damage here, and I'll pressure the Ditto, force him to evolve the Ditto, perhaps into something he doesn't want to, just to prevent that prize loss. We're gonna see the Timer Ball immediately. This could be Zora Gyarados. Get some hands. This is bad news. Grabs my cargo and then Zorg. So that's probably going to get him a prize against my Eevee right here. I mean, which means I can Kuzma the Macargo again, and he can't Kuzma out of it as long as I don't bench anything else. Wow, my opponent had the Lily, I mean the Elms, and just the double Tire Ball already. Wait, what? He goes for the Cynthia instead of going for a Kuzma to get a KO? Huh. A third Tire Ball. Stop. What? 5 out of 6 heads flips. 5 out of 6 head flips. Okay. So to say we are far behind would be an understatement. It would be a very big understatement. How is he going to retreat this? Does he play a skateboarder switch? Maybe. Maybe he does. I wouldn't be surprised at this point. Yeah. So I guess that's why you play Cynthia. Wow. And we top deck an Eevee. A completely and utterly useless Eevee. Okay. So let's go ahead and bring up the Macargo. He's just gonna Kuzma, right? But that saves my Jolteon, I guess. But we're dealing 60 damage total. My opponent is dealing 120 every time. So to say we're in trouble would be, like I said, an understatement. We haven't played a single draw supporter. We've played double Kuzma, and that's it. I things are not going great for the Jolteon. They are not looking great for the Jolteon GX deck. Hey JCK, likewise. Is this just pure Zorg Muck? Yeah, goes for the ZERAORA, makes sense. We'll get the knockout here. And unless I top deck a Cynthia, I'm just gonna concede here. And yep. Okay, so it's not looking great for this deck. It's really not. I think it's sorely lacking Zapdos. Yeah, I think it's sorely lacking Zapdos. But then we're gonna get Pikachu and Zekrom, which is gonna be much stronger. I mean, to be fair, the 2 of the games we've played, I've started with 3 Guzmas, now 2 Guzmas, and now 1 Guzma. So, and apparently Swaginator is in chat and he says he was playing Missing Clover, so pretty nice. Okay, so Nest Ball. Let's grab Orange Guru for sure. Saying the Missing Clovers would have been epic, Swaginator. I literally had nothing though. I literally had nothing. And I'll bench this friend. I'm definitely gonna Ultra Ball these 2 for another Eevee. Or it could be just for the ZERAORA. Yeah, let's go for ZERAORA. The Giratina means we're up against Malamar, right? There's no other deck that plays Giratina. Well, I guess ZERAORA can sometimes play it. This is a pretty nice 3 cards to get off of Instruct. Now this is looking much better. We didn't play a draw supporter at all, but we actually have a pretty decent looking setup so far. Pretty decent looking setup so far. Alright, so we're gonna see Mysterious Treasure. The Acrobat discard a Psychic, which is ideal, right, for that deck. Definitely the ideal for the deck. Gonna see another Inkay. And we're gonna see a turn 1 Lily for 7. Okay. Okay, so definitely evolving. Now I could just escape rope here and then go for an Electro Power or probably a Volkner, right? Just to thin the deck a little bit more, and I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and escape rope. It does help my opponent in sending the Giratina back to bench, but I'm okay with that because I do get a knockout here. Okay. So there's the Jolteon, and now I'm gonna go ahead and attach an energy to the Jolteon. Then I'm gonna smooth over for a Volkner. And the Volkner will get me an energy plus the Electro Power I need to knock out the Ditto. And I'll get a bonus card too off of the Oranguru's Instruct, which is another Electro Power. So now my Volkner is actually gonna get me a Nest Ball. Yeah, now the Volkner will get me a Nest Ball because the Nest Ball gets me an Eevee. And then I'll just Electro Power, get the KO on the Ditto, and start pressuring Inkay. Now I don't mind this Giratina. 1 Electro Power gets a knockout on that. Perhaps 1 Electro Bullet could be decent to target it down at some point, but we'll see. We shall see. Okay. So what's my opponent up to? Evolves the Malamar, of course, to protect the Inkay. There's another Malamar, that makes sense. Is there any way we could get KO'd here? We could with a Dawn Wings, double Mysterious, double Psychic Recharge attached, Choice Band, or or Shrine KO. That's definitely an option. There's another Lily. Okay, and then we just see an energy and a pass. So definitely gonna power up the Eevee. I do not have a way to find an Electro Power to get a knockout on a Malamar or an Inkay this turn. So is it worth it to Guzma? I don't think it is. I actually think it's worth it to just try and take down the Giratina. The opponent did get rid of a skateboard. However, my hand just doesn't allow for anything to be done here. So I probably just need a Volkner at the top. Yeah, let's go for the Volkner. Let's do the Volkner, and then I'm in no hurry to knock out that Giratina, right? So I'm just gonna go ahead and Electro Bullet. Pressure the Malamar, maybe get a... Like, it's more valuable to get a knockout on the Malamar than get a knockout on the Giratina. And if I need to, if he commits another energy to a Giratina, I can just KO the Giratina, right? So that's option. And JCK, thank you, but the days I usually do... the days I do viewer battles is on Fridays. Yeah, these days, like, there are a ton of people who would like to play against me, and sometimes it can be like a bit unreliable or not. So Fridays is when you'll usually want to catch me for viewer battles. Okay, decides to put the damage on the Giratina, which I disagree on. Well, I guess it's not terrible, but now it's looking pretty nice because with one Electro Power I will be able to get a knockout on the Giratina and the Malamar, which is really, really nice. And I guess I'll power up ZERAORA in case my opponent at some point ends up bringing out the big guns, aka the GXs. ZERAORA could end up being a good Pokemon to deal with them. I get the double knockout, which is very nice. My opponent probably kicking himself right now for putting the damage on the Giratina. I think the Marshadow would have been a safer place to put the damage onto. I guess there was no way to stop the double prize, so maybe not. Maybe that was the right play. I think... Well, I don't know. It's difficult to say at this point. It's actually difficult to say. Okay, so we're gonna see an Acrobike. Marshadow GX is actually probably the scariest thing to deal with at this point in time, especially with no Guzma handy at the moment. We're gonna see a Mysterious Treasure discarding a Guzma. Mysterious Treasure discarding a Guzma for another Malamar, understandably so. We're gonna see the Giratina make a comeback, putting damage on my GXs, that makes sense. And yeah, so next turn I don't have a knockout on the Giratina, in fact, with anything. Oh no, I do, I have Electro Power, never mind. I do have Electro Power. So I think it's gonna be worth it. Just get a knockout with this other Jolteon, try and protect that one. The Ditto Prism Star is kind of nice. I'm gonna go ahead and Choice Band here. I'm gonna go ahead and attach. I will play the Electro Power. I will shuffle back in these three Pokemon, and then I'm gonna bench the Ditto, and then I'll Lily for 3. Hopefully getting me closer to a Guzma. My Cargo is almost a Guzma. And I'm gonna retreat, and I'm gonna Swift Run GX. Yeah, why not? Right? Why not? And hey, see Steven, I'm actually not going to because Team Up releases this Thursday. So deck reviews of Team Ups will start happening on Thursday with a long live stream on that day with the Team Up set and also like gameplay, actual gameplay, and not just theory. Yeah. Okay, Jack or JCK, sorry. Rumble V, do I think Incineroar GX could get some play at regionals? I don't think so, honestly. I think Pikachu and Zekrom GX is going to be the deck to beat. But Incineroar GX might end up seeing some play once Zoroark and Greninja Tag Team GX ends up getting released. I think that's when Incineroar GX will have its time to shine. Okay, so my opponent uses Giratina once again. Softening up the GXs, the Lily does make sure that I can't get another KO on the Giratina, which is nice. Or I could just retreat to a ZERAORA and get the KO that way. That also works. I have used 3 Electro Powers, I only have 1 left. Goes after the Ditto, which I disagree on. Yeah, I think my opponent's just too far behind at this point. Buenas, Max. Si de nada, Rumble. I think my opponent is a bit too far behind at this point for him to be able to catch up. Oh, does have a Guzma. Wow. Okay. I guess they always have it. This is the 3rd Guzma. Wow, I didn't realize my opponent's playing 3 Tata Lizas rather than Cynthias. I guess to counteract silly stall decks that try to stall you out in the active spot. Okay, puts the damage on the Giratina, which I am okay with. Because now this gets me a knockout, and I think this changes things big time, right? My goal now is simply to find a Kuzma for next turn, which I can just stack at the top off of the Macargo. Because even if he uses Dawnwing's GX attack to KO me, that's gonna be okay, right? So I'll get rid of these 2 cards. I'll fail this. I'm gonna go ahead and instruct once. And then I'm gonna put a Kuzma at the top. Kuzma at the top should be game, unless my opponent is playing a Trumbeak or something. Or he has a second Let Loose Marshadow. But I'm gonna go ahead and hit Bolt. If he hadn't put the 40 damage on there, I would have been forced to find the Electro Power. And it could have been priced, right? The 4th Electro Power. Rumble, thank you so much for the 100 bits. Very kind of you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We're gonna see an Acrobike. Discarding a Psychic. The opponent has to use Dawnwings this turn. With Marshadow or not, but he has to use Dawnwings. Wow, we see an attachment to the Marshadow. In order to draw extra cards for the Lily. Does he get it? He needs either Marshadow or Rescue Stretcher over Dawnwings. Rescue Stretcher for Dawnwings. Now he needs a damage modifier to KO the Jolteon. He can't Guzma, thankfully. So he can't Guzma KO my ZERAORA, but it doesn't matter. It would only matter if he was at 2 prizes. Since he's at 3, well, like I'll top deck the Guzma and then Guzma the any Pokemon I want, and then just immediately win. Am I going to St. Louis Regionals? Yes, I am, Rumble. Yes, I am. I am indeed going to St. Louis Regionals. Max, Bosque Verde con Necrozma GX o con Ultra Necrozma, con los dos. Yo creo que con los dos vale mucho la pena. And yep, there's the Moon's Eclipse. No KO here. I am in range of Giratina, of course, but the Kuzma will be enough to close out the game. Plasma Fist for the knockout on this poor Marshadow. Veo más viable. Me gusta más la versión pura psíquica, la verdad. And yeah, that will conclude our Jolteon GX video. The verdict on the deck, I think, is that it's more towards the mediocre side. There's a lot of lightning type support, but the attacks just aren't quite up there for Jolteon. You don't have a lot of things that are weak to you, like Puzzle. Your second attack is potentially good. The deck definitely staggered quite a bit in the beginning, especially. But to be fair, I was starting with Guzma a lot in my hand. I started three Guzmas, 2 Guzmas, 1 Guzma, no draw supporter in all of those 3 games. So that's something to take into account. And yeah, guys, now we are going to be moving on to Glacian Vaporeon. So don't go anywhere, guys. I will be right back in just a second. And if you're watching YouTube, don't forget to leave a like. It really helps out. Be right back in just a second.